Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Long Story Short. I'm your host, Vineet Malhotra, and today I've had the pleasure of having a very popular Bollywood actor, a known face, somebody who's been in iconic movies such as The Monsoon Wedding, Made in Heaven. He's also starring in the newly released Akshay Kumar starrer Sarfira. Rahul, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us. First up, you've been in this game for a very, very long time. It's your 40th year, I believe, in Bollywood. How has the journey been for you so far?
Well, 40th year, I would say not exactly in Bollywood, but definitely in acting. I started in July of 1984, so just about exactly 40 years down. And yeah, of course, I've acted in every single format that exists. Be it theater, be it cinema, be it musical, showbiz. Short films, television series, OTT, movies, cinema on film and cinema on digital digital video formats for TV. So various things.
Mm.
Practically every format I've acted in, yes. And it's been a roller coaster of a ride, quite a wonderful roller coaster, if I may say so. Uh, I I've had I've had the good fortune of having worked with some of the greatest names across the globe uh, in all the formats.
Mm.
I've acted in English, Hindi, and French. I'm a native French speaker, so that also happens. And yeah, I've always maintained that one should. I want to maintain that even though I had fantastic teachers and fantastic sort of masters who taught me, gurus who took us along on their journey so that we learned along on the way. I also would like to thank all the people who put roadblocks in my way and put red lights in my paths because that gave me a determination to go further. So I have
Mm.
to thank them as well, even the biggest detractors. So it's
Mm.
been a roller coaster. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster.
Right, of course. I wanted to get that out of the way and, in fact, let people reflect on how your journey has been and what your profile has been in synopsis. I also want to talk about some of the starker and the darker things that exist in the entertainment industry, when it comes to the acting ecosystem. What are the challenges that actors face nowadays? Because as you know, acting, Bollywood, the entertainment industry is a part of everyone's life. In the last 40 years, like you said, of your acting career, what kind of struggles have you faced since 1984? I'm assuming that's the year you started.
Yeah, that's the year we started. I think uh, I did my first professional performance was just about 12 days after Mrs. Gandhi was assassinated. So it was a very trying time for us as well at that time, all of us in Delhi. I was in Delhi at that time. Um, so yeah, I mean, the struggles are different, for everybody. And initially, we went with long hours of rehearsals. We were what would be known as a mixture of professional and amateur theatre groups. People were working in other jobs, and they would only come for rehearsals in the evening. There were only three, four of us who were actually 24 hour dedicated to theatre. So, sort of balancing those times, and it sort of just puts a little bit of a different circadian cycle into your head, to work till 2, 3 in the morning every day. We used to rehearse till very late. Uh, and so it's I think it's everybody's lifestyle, but for me, I come alive in the evenings because it's for the performance. So it's that's how one has sort of been ingrained with the performance time of the evening, and then uh, the shift from theater to cinema. I mean, I wouldn't say a permanent shift because I kept going back and forth. I still go back and forth. Uh, it's always a tough one to break through, to get the first role, to get, it's not always easy to come from Delhi and reach a, strange city in Mumbai and then face rejections every day. But you do 100 auditions, you probably get one, you know, initially.
Hmm.
Initially. So after that, of course, things become slightly better once you've done a few things and you're known a little bit more and people appreciate your work. Then it becomes easy. But it's not always easy. There's always a struggle. Every day there's a struggle.
But
Even today.
has the struggle evolved now? I mean, has it changed in any way? You have more avenues for actors. You have OTT platforms. You have the small television. Have the avenues have increased, but so has the competition, I believe.
So the competition has always been there. There are about 5,000 actors who land in Bombay every day to be lead actors. Okay. So the competition has always been there. But if you look at it in a way, we make almost about 2,000 movies a year. Given, I'm not talking about digital content. I'm not talking about OTT content at the moment. I'm talking about movies, across the country. Of course, I include the industry from the south and east and everything in that, not just Bombay and Bollywood. But uh, so there should be enough space for everybody, technically, But we do tend to become top heavy. We do tend to have, preferences for certain types of actors only and certain people only. OTT has opened up a lot of avenues for actors, for technicians, for crew, lots of opportunities because there's many more things happening now. But again, it's going the same way, I feel, Um, how come that, how is it that nobody across even the border, let's say up to Iran or Iraq or even Dubai, watches any Indian OTT platform shows? And we watch Korean shows, we watch Mexican shows, we watch American shows, watch shows from other countries which are doing brilliantly well. You know, we don't make shows for a pan world content, which somebody sitting in Argentina can watch at the same time as somebody in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. You know, we don't make content like that. I've been saying this for quite some time, ever since the OTTs came in. We don't even make content for pan India. I mean, nobody watches Indian Hindi OTT series in the south, in Tamil Nadu or Kerala. So we are not even looking at pan India. You know, we're getting stuck in the same system, that star system, which out of every 10 series, I think one goes and does brilliantly well and deservedly so. And then there are 9 that sort of just, fall by the wayside with nothing.
Rahul, do you think that Indian cinema is perhaps dogged by being a one-trick pony? This is a difficult question to answer, but I feel, and a number of people feel, intellectuals feel that it's only the top-heavy nature of the film industry that yields any kind of a response, either from the filmmakers or from the audience, and only big stars that are invested in. It does not really create room for more people to seep into that top heavy space. It's very, very difficult. What do you feel about that? And is that unfair?
Uh, well, there is a phenomenon which I was talking to a very dear friend of mine. I won't name him, a very well-known film director, and we were realizing the fact that today, in a manner, Silicon Valley has overtaken LA. So it's all about digital. It's all about, selling space on your digital platform. It's not about telling stories. It's not about being true to the medium of cinema or true to the medium of the OTT platform or the idea of storytelling. We are a nation of storytellers. I mean, storytelling started from this country, the Jataka, the Panchatantra, and all the fables came from that. La Fontaine himself has written in his fables, or the tales of La Fontaine. He's written in himself that in the second volume, we've got 3 volumes. Second volume, he thanks the Indian sage Pilpai. Pilpai is actually a bastardization of a word Vidyapati. Who was actually the man who wrote the Kshemendra, was the one who wrote the, I think the Kshemendra, if I'm not mistaken, who wrote the Panchatantra, and uh, and so he thanks him. So all the stories come from here, and yet we don't tell stories. We are now looking at Excel sheets and PPTs to sell films. You know, that's what producers are doing. Gone are the days when producers would sit patiently and listen to a director and say, "Okay, tu kar le beta, no problems." Because just in the way the story was told and what the story was telling was enough for them to know that this guy is capable of making a beautiful film. He didn't have to come with certificates and degrees from diplomas from filmmaking institutes to be able to say that I can make a film.
All right. Rahul, do you think there's nepotism in Bollywood, and that has resulted in a lot of people without talent, getting all the big bucks and the big movie contracts, whereas some of the genuine talent is ignored and shortchanged. Now that's a debate which has existed in the media in the past as well. In cricket, you don't see nepotism. Rohan Gavaskar never did as well as Sunil Gavaskar because cricket is a great equalizer. You have to perform, but that necessarily does not hold true with Bollywood. Do you think that is a big concern? I mean, you have Tom Hanks's son who's not really done well. You have other great stars in Hollywood who have had kids, even Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro, but their sons have not gotten the same opportunities as their fathers have because what differentiated both was the talent. But in India, do you think that is not acceptable? If you come from a star family, you're automatically acceptable regardless of your talent.
Absolutely, absolutely. This does exist. Now, nepotism also you can define in many ways. Firstly, yes, the star kids. So there are when they come on for the first films, they come on with an entourage of 8, 10 people, and they're already in their Range Rovers and they're earning in crores. While people who've been around for 3, 4 decades are sort of still struggling with a few lakhs. What I mean. And the issues are always related to that. Um,
Do you personally
I'll give you a small.
what you just said? Do you personally relate to what you just said?
Yes, absolutely. I was in fact a few years back. I got a call from a casting director and said, "Sir, we're doing this. We are launching so and so's daughter." So I said, "Fantastic, lovely idea. We'd like you to play a part in the film." So I said, "Sure." And I said, "She's already been launched. How old is she now?" He said, "Be around 18 or something." So I said, "Okay, very good, fantastic." Uh, and then he says, "So, sir, the director's a new director, but he wants you to audition." So I said, "Have you asked the girl if she's auditioned? Does she know how to act? I've been around, I've been acting for more than 3 decades
Hmm.
in all parts of the world, in all formats of the game. Okay.
Hmm.
So why should I audition for you? And let me see her audition, see if I want to work in the film or not." So he says, "Kya baat kar rahe ho? Nobody talks like this." So I said, I do. No. I mean, I find it offending that you have to ask me for an audition when all my films are there available on OTT channels and all kinds of places to formats to be able to see it in. So if you want to know if I can act, then please have a look at something. Unless there is a very specific character that I need to play, and I'm very happy to come in front of the director's lens and check it out. Like just to give you a small example, I'm just diverting a little bit. Um uh, there's a young director called Arjun Varan Singh. Just made a movie called Ho Gaye Hum Taha. You know, came on Netflix. It was a film. It's a very young director, very young. But he said, "I want to narrate the whole script to you." So when I heard the whole script, I said, "I love this film. I'll do it, even though it's a small role." Normally, I didn't want to do the small role. So it's not that I don't want. I wouldn't go. I'd go to a 13-year-old kid also who's a director, if he asked me nicely, and go and audition for him if it's a particular part. Why not? I did that for a short film. Kabir Purana did this film called Sutta Bazi. He was all of 22, 23 when I did the film. He says, "I want you to do the film." I said, "Sure, we'll do it." So, it's not about age, it's not about anything, but yes, this nepotism does exist. And then suddenly all the kids are there. And unlike in cricket, where, you can't buy a match every time and say, "Okay, he's going to play 10 T20 matches or 20 test matches, and here I'm putting the money in for that." In cinema, you can. You can do 15 launches for your kid. You can produce 14 films for your kid. And then if it doesn't happen, no, I'm not saying all of them are bad. I'm saying yes, they've got a chance to be. They've got a higher step to start with. Fair enough. Some of them turn out to be exquisite. Some of the new star kids are absolutely wonderful performers and wonderful, very consummate actors. So why not? I mean, they deserve everything.
Hmm.
It's. You're right. It's about people who you don't necessarily have to be. My son doesn't necessarily have to be an actor. He
Hmm.
could be a scientist, or he could be he might want to, I don't know, fly kites. You know?
But Rahul, let's also talk about some of the big stars who refuse to retire. and they
Hmm.
continue to demand the same money that they demanded perhaps, say, 10 years ago, computing inflation to it, but their movies are not doing well. And the producers, the studios, the directors continue to bet on them. How do you define this phenomenon? And isn't that, in fact, keeping away a lot of opportunities, even for filmmakers, when it comes to new ideas and newer people and concepts?
No, so I would just say good luck to them. They are still being able to earn command the money that they commanded 10 years ago,
Not all
and
of
they're
them,
getting it also.
not all of them, without naming anyone, some of
Yeah,
these
yeah,
big
yeah,
ones
yeah.
are big flops.
So whosoever's getting it, good luck to them. Fantastic. I congratulate them. I'm just saying that it's lovely. But uh, this is not really, it's not their fault. Why would I stop taking money if I'm getting it to do a film? I wouldn't, you know. So it's not as if they should retire or anything. No actor retires. No artist retires ever. One keeps working till whenever one can with the boots on. But um, but it's up to the producers, promoters, and distributors. They should be seeing and doing a rethink to see how what kind of film should be made, what kind of what kind of concepts and stories should be told. I just told you we're a nation of storytellers, but the right stories are not coming out. I mean, if big movies like this, absolute what should I call, appealing to the most to the lowest common human denominator, can do well with super successes. What can you do about it?
Hmm.
You just keep pushing. It's an unfair world. Like the nepotism also, it's an unfair world. We just have to fight fairly and win. That's it.
Hmm.
It's an unfair world.
Rahul, what kind of changes would you advocate in this space? Do you think that there is room for governance in this space?
Well, I would like to see more people who appreciate and understand storytelling sitting in positions where one can, where one is deciding or vetting projects. You know, people who are not just driven by the stardom and star processes which are used in Bollywood and for OTTs I'm talking about. Even in Bollywood, some intelligent stories need to be told. We're just telling stupid stories these days. Sometimes you have a little sleeper hit that comes in from somewhere and becomes a big success. But that again, it's a story beautifully told. It's a story, honestly told. So we need to tell stories more honestly. We need to have people who are more diverse and more traveled and more sort of you know. I'm not trying to be pretentious, but I'm just saying people should have a more open mind
Hmm. What
for
do you mean
films
by that,
today.
Rahul, when you say an open mind? What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, if I was to go and take a script and say, here, this is a story, I think it will work brilliantly and everything, and people just come and say, no, this doesn't work. Where's the star? Bring a star to it. We'll put a movie. We'll do the movie. Uh, so now you bring a star each time. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that you'll get a picture which is fantastic. So
Hmm.
with the same guarantee, at for probably half the cost, you get a movie that is not guaranteed that it will work. But there is a chance that the story will be told.
Hmm.
You know, so when I say yes, there are some lovely scripts doing the rounds. I've heard a couple of them. We even tried to set up one. It's a totally disruptive script. It will just shake the ideas. A very beautiful idea of a film. Uh, but we're looking for takers. You
Hmm.
know, if anybody was to bet on that film, it will be a fantastic film. But
Rahul,
then who am I to say so? As they say, you know.
do you personally feel let down or despondent or disappointed in any way with the nature of the industry that you're a part of?
See, ups and downs are a part of our game. We chose to do this. We volunteered and set out to do this. That there will be ups and downs every day. There will be despondencies. There will be disappointments. There will be setbacks. There will be all kinds of things that one has to deal with. It's fine. There are some happy moments too, and that's part of the nature of our game. We have to continue the way we are continuing, and just keep hoping that one day something nice will happen.
Hmm. I often say this that in Hollywood, the concept of the movie is the star. But in Indian movies, in Bollywood, even for South Indian movies, in fact, movie kingdoms across the country, it's the star who ends up becoming the concept of the movie. Do you think that needs to change? Because, if you look at some of the Western movies, the Hollywood movies, sometimes they are star agnostic. It's the theme of the movie, it's the script of the movie, perhaps even the director that breakthroughs the minds and the hearts of the people. Do you think that's missing in Bollywood?
See, I don't want to do a class in cinema, but the actor is the only animate element of the entire process of filmmaking. There is nothing else which is in animate. Everything else is inanimate. There's editing, there's flowers, there's lights, there's sound, there's music, there's costumes, there's sets, there's properties, there's some kind of editing, there's post production, there's effects, visual effects, everything. It's all in the mind of the director. It's a director's medium all out. Cinema is not an actor's medium; it's a director's medium. However, the actor gets to become the face of the film because he's the only animate object. You know, he's the only person people can relate to. So he becomes the star of the film. So that is an intrinsic law of cinema. You can't avoid it. Wherever you go, even if you take a star agnostic film, he still ends up being the star of the film. You know, because he's the person you relate to mostly. I mean, an average goer will not relate to the sets or anything. He'll relate to the story of the protagonist or antagonist, whichever way. So it's the story that's important. But yes, in India, we tend to make the script around the star more than the star around the script. Many stars don't want to break that mold of theirs. How can they break that mold? So if there's somebody who's a chocolate boy, he's a chocolate boy. The moment you turn him into a rickshawala, not everybody's a Balraj Sani. Not everybody's a Bimal Roy who can choose a Balraj Sani to do Do Biga Zameen. And Balraj Sani accepts also to do it. So it's a different ball game. Guru Dutt made all his films. The stories are beautifully told. All the top filmmakers, the wonderful storytellers that I can name 100, they are all wonderful storytellers, and the films are made because of their stories. I mean, look at one of the absolute cult films called Jaane Bhi Do Yaaro. I don't know if you've seen that film, but it's such a story. It's such a story. And yet you have the pantheon of all the top actors of today in that.
Because it was a concept by Kundan Shah that did the trick.
It was the idea. It was a story. Yeah. So basically, we are storytellers. We should first learn how to tell a story. And when we are telling the story, after that, you can keep adding whatever you want to it.
Rahul, do you also think that a lot of people who are perhaps also in your position on the same bandwagon as you are also, not comfortable speaking against a lot of these issues for the fear of being cancelled?
I'm sure I'll be cancelled on many things because of speaking the way I am just now also. But it's okay. Yeah? It's the truth. Everybody knows it. I'm not naming anybody personally. I'm not, bringing down any kind of either family or production house or anything. But let the truth be told. This is the case. And I still am saying that we don't know how to make stories which are told across, which can be heard across the globe. I myself have done shows across the world, and I've seen you can do simple stories. You can do simple stories which resonate with audiences across the globe. It makes but you have to tell stories. You have to be truthful to the art of storytelling. So
we've almost come to the end of our conversation. So let's just quickly, ask you one positive question. What are you looking forward to? Of course, we have discussed the ups and downs. Tell me, what are you looking forward to in the space that you're in?
Every actor he dreams of doing this. His dream is always that one day one of his films is going to be a runaway hit. And it's going to be appreciated by millions across the globe. So yes, one always lives in that hope. That's what an actor is, always. Probably when it might happen when I'm 90, it might happen when I'm 61, it might happen when I'm today. So it can happen anytime.
Well, I'm hoping it
Uh,
happens. It happens soon for you, Rahul. And I'm a big fan. I've seen your work. You're a great actor, and some of the
Thank you.
movies that you have done are already iconic. Maybe you're so close to them that you don't realize it, but you have a lot of fans out there. I appreciate you took out the time. You spoke about some stark and some harsh realities that actors are faced with, and I'm hoping that they will gain from your experience, and they will in fact resonate with what you have said today. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you. Thank you.